The IPL auction would have just concluded in Dubai. And once again, we would have seen some big money being splurged on players. But the pressure that comes with this is just as immense. It's time to go back 15 years in time in this cricket.com classic. Brendon McCullum's unbeaten 158 is something that every IPL fan will recollect with fond memories. But the story behind it is just as interesting, let alone intriguing. Brendon McCullum, also known as Baz, was bought in the first ever IPL auction for a hefty $700,000, an amount unheard of in cricketing circles back then. Because it was the first time, there was uncertainty about the figures, so I had no idea what I'd sell for. When I was signed for USD $700,000, I was obviously blown away, and having slept on it, it's a great feeling and it's nice to get the recognition. This was what McCullum had to say in an interview a few days before the IPL in 2008. However, not once in his wildest dreams would he have imagined the kind of impact he would have gone on to have on the fate of IPL. The first ever IPL fixture was scheduled to be between the Royal Challengers Bangalore and the Kolkata Knight Riders on the 19th of April 2008 at the former's home ground at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium. And the lead up to the opener hadn't been the greatest for the Kiwi, for nervousness seemed to have gotten the better of him. I never really got too nervous throughout my cricket career, but on that occasion, I'll admit, I was very nervous. I think none of us really knew what this tournament was going to be like. The nervousness, as he writes in his book, came from various things. The price tag, the uncertainty, sharing the dressing room with some of the giants of the game, and these were just to name a few. In the nets, McCullum tried so hard to impress his KKR skipper at the time, Saurav Ganguly, and others like Ricky Ponting that he couldn't even time the ball. He started trying to hit everything out of the park in the practice session and failed. Then he went all defensive and he failed there as well. By this point, pretty much any net bowler was able to take his wicket, and he had no hope that coach John Buchanan would go with him as a first choice opener. With less than a week left for the IPL to commence, McCullum met a former teammate of his in Kolkata, who, according to McCullum, actually approached him with a shady proposition to which the wicketkeeper batsman said no. However, the meeting only added to McCullum's anxieties, as he feared that given the way his form was, a failure could lead to questions being asked of him. And then when the big night came, everything just added to his apprehension. He had to wait for the fireworks, the dance performances, and the toss for cricketing action to finally begin. He carried his poor form from the nets to the first 6 deliveries of the match. Praveen Kumar with the new ball ensured that there were no runs scored in the first over of the bat. The pitch at the Chinnaswamy, generally considered batting friendly, was proving to be a nightmare for McCullum, who just couldn't time anything. The big crowds that had come to watch this bang-bang format had suddenly quietened down and seemed a little restless as McCullum failed to connect. As Zaheer Khan stood at the top of his run-up in the second over, McCullum decided that come what may, I'm going to charge down the next ball and give it a whack. After smashing 2 short balls past mid-wicket for boundaries, McCullum rode his luck as he brought up IPL's first ever 6 with a thick outside edge. The 158 runs that McCullum scored is arguably the most important knocks cricket has ever seen. In fact, no batter till today has played more than 73 balls that he faced that day. So significant was his knock that it completely took attention away from what had otherwise proved to be a poor T20 fixture. Apart from McCullum, only 3 other batters had a strike rate in excess of 100. In the context of that match, the New Zealanders' knock at a strike rate of 216 with 13 huge sixes was way ahead of its time. There were plenty of compliments coming his way at the end of the game. In fact, Saurav Ganguly told McCullum post-match, "Your life is changed forever." The next morning, it was the IPL Supremo, Lalit Modi's turn to thank the New Zealander for making his tournament a success. KKR's owner Shah Rukh Khan was not to be left behind, as he later told McCullum, "You'll always be with the Knight Riders." There were times when I was with KKR and then I got released, but we always finished on really good terms. I was always very grateful and thankful for the opportunity that the franchise had provided for me. In all, he represented the Kolkata Knight Riders in 8 of the 14 IPL seasons that he's been part of. Importantly, the knock helped IPL pave the way for cricket to enter the hearts of the masses as a summer activity. The money spinner that catapulted the BCCI's position in global cricket, helping it establish itself as the world's richest cricket board. It makes you think, without this knock, would the IPL have been so special? Thanks so much for watching this episode of cricket.com Classics, and comment below with what other stories you want us to narrate going forward. Until then, have a cracking week ahead and subscribe, please, if you're new.